Welcome to the Comic Book Shop of Doom. I'm your host. This video was not for children, so if you're under 13, get your parents' permission to watch this video. If anything, ask mom and dad to sit here and watch it with you. You may learn something, or you could ask them anything you don't understand. Ask them questions about what I'm talking about. Okay, this is your nightly news for Wednesday, July 1st, 2020. So I'm putting this up late Tuesday night before. We got a couple deaths here. Danny Hicks, we reported on him a couple of weeks ago. He was stage 4 cancer. He was an actor, character actor. He was in Intruder and Evil Dead 2. He was the hillbilly Jake that comes up to the cabin almost like midway through the movie in Evil Dead 2. So he had real bad cancer, and condolences to his friends and family. And then we got Carl Reiner at 98. So Rob Reiner's father, Carl Reiner, used to write the Dick Van Dyke Show. He did The Man with Two Brains, writer, director, actor, did a lot of stuff. So condolences to his friends and family. Ozark has been renewed for a fourth and final season on Netflix. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are getting a new CG movie reboot from Nickelodeon and Seth Rogen's production company. So, yeah, that's kid friendly, sure. Okay, there's going to be an animated Gremlins on HBO Max, and it may be a stepping stone to a third movie. So they're going to try to reintroduce the Gremlins. Okay, I watched a video on YouTube today, and they had some interview with that Mackenzie Davis. She was in Terminator Dark Fate. She was the Terminator that came back, or she was like, what is it, the hybrid or whatever. Well, she said it's dead because it lost too much money, so the franchise is dead. Curb Your Enthusiasm to do season 11 on HBO. YouTube TV has raised their price to $64.99 a month because they've added channels. Dustin Hoffman, after the Me Too movement, he was called out. He's coming back to Broadway in a play for Scott Rudin, who's the producer. It's called Our Town. It'll be next year. Mahershala Ali is going to star as boxer Jack Johnson in an HBO limited series called Unruly. Scoob, the animated Scooby-Doo movie, is on HBO Max now. Movie studios are getting nervous about August because of the coronavirus, and different places have been affected differently, where some states like Texas and Florida have been locked down again. So they're nervous about August reopening, and there's a lot of big movies, and they're just sitting and sitting and sitting, and it's hard to greenlight stuff to make when there's nothing going on. And they've been sending movies that they think are duds to video on demand, and that new thing, premium video on demand, where it's $19.99 to watch a movie. Star Wars The Mandalorian is going to have tie-in comics and novels, so they're going to milk that. Michelle Pfeiffer is in talks to return as Catwoman in the Flash movie Flashpoint. Now, we reported that Michael Keaton's in talks too for that, the return as Batman. And if he falls through, they're going to go with Christian Bale. So I assume if Michael Keaton falls through, then Michelle Pfeiffer, would they cast her in there? I don't know. So that's up in the air, or they think they got Michael Keaton locked down. Okay, X-Men films and then the 2015 Fantastic Four movie are coming to Disney Plus this summer. DC Universe has added an HBO Max upgrade option. So they're trying to get people from DC Universe to jump up to HBO Max. WandaVision Season 1, the Scarlet Witch and Vision series on Disney Limited, or actually Disney Plus. It's going to be 9 episodes the first season. Comic book writer Scott Lobdell, new sexual accusations against him. Now, this is kind of, this is my personal opinion on this. I don't know him. I've met him one time in 1992 at the Marvel Expo they had at McCormick Place in Chicago. And he was nice to me for 10 minutes. He talked to me. He signed some books, cracked some jokes. And he used to be a stand-up comic. So I was telling my friend this. I sent him the link, and I said, "Hey, what do you think of this?" Because he was a big comic book writer or reader in the '90s, and he told me that he always thought Scott Lobdell was gay. And I never got that out of him. I just thought that he was an eccentric dude because when I met him, he was wearing like a Hawaiian shirt and like he was acting like a stand-up comic to me. So I mean, he was nice to me for 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops. But check out on the web. There's sexual accusations against him, and he was writing for DC. So I don't know if they're kicking him out of there or he's leaving on his own till things calm down. Then the MCM London Comic Con in October 2020, that's been canceled. So look for that probably next year. Wrestling news, we have a death. Rest in peace, the killer Tim Brooks. He was 72. He was battling cancer. He's had cancer for a couple of years and they knew he was terminal. He was the guy that he beat Mr. Wonderful for the national title in Georgia, and then he sold it to Larry Zbyszko for $10,000, and they went on there. And I forgot who it was, the commissioner. He says, you can't sell a wrestling title for money. But that was the start of that, where $1 Million Man DiBiase did it later in the WWF, where he buys the title from Andre. But that's where they took that from. But yeah, that was the first time it was used where somebody bought a title. The WWE NXT conference call, a whole lot of nothing. They didn't really announce nothing. They just basically told talents to be ready to go for TV if and when they start filming again because of a lockdown, plus in England, the travel ban. Now, here's something that's messed up. Walter is on a guaranteed contract, and he said that if they move to America, he's not coming. So they would have to pay him outright. So if they shut down the NXT UK brand, Walter is not moving to America. He was adamant about that before. There's been two firings and one suspension in NXT UK. Joe Coffey has been suspended. Now, this is all the speaking out movement stuff. And then 2 referees have been fired, Joel Allen and Chris Roberts. MLW has signed a deal to make their title belts from Wildcat belts or whatever. So they're going to have belts like people can order replica belts of their title belts. Warner Media is selling the CNN Center, which was the former WCW headquarters. So that was the office in Atlanta, Georgia. Rock's Instagram is worth more than the Kardashians and the Jenner family. So he could push products on there and people listen to him. So he's getting endorsement deals. There's been people in WWE that are they've been telling Vince to do a biodome. So to film TV, so he should buy or have a biodome built. So if this ever happens, they could film TV in there and it's friendly where the air and everything gets in, circulation's okay. So I do not know how much that costs, but Vince's his net worth went up 10%, $200 million in the pandemic, because they got rid of the money-losing house shows and all they're doing is TV tapings. So his money increased. So that's a sign that maybe the house shows could be done for. It'll just be TV and video product from now on. Who knows? It's up to them. COVID tests may not be back in time for the Great American Bash show that they're going to have to rival AEW's Fyter Fest. The NXT Great American Bash show is going to have limited commercials. WWE's canceled return to live events in July, so yeah, the pandemic's pushed them back. So probably they ain't going to be able to do anything live with fans until at least August, if that. Ring of Honor has a channel number 357 on the Stirr app, STIRR. I've never heard of this. So these fringe things that they got, but they have a channel running videos on there. No AEW Performance Center as of yet, because there was an article I read about QT Marshall's The Nightmare Factory in Georgia where he was training people. He doesn't want to be exclusive to AEW. He wants to train guys from all around. And AEW filmed a couple of weeks worth of their TV in his gym. They dressed it up a little bit, and that's where they filmed Dynamite at. Jim Cornette says that AEW should sign Tessa Blanchard ASAP and put the world title for the women's belt on her right away. And I don't disagree with that. But I think she's shooting for WWE. She probably figures there's more money there. Everybody have a good night.